Okay, I had a thought that is not necessarily very well in place in my mind, but I really think that's an important thought. That's why I would like to share it and to take the time to explain it a bit more so that I can remember it in the same time. And certainly I will come back on that because I think that's more or less the core part of what we're looking for, what makes us afraid, and why we're never happy with what we do, even when we kind of reach certain goals. Um, I would say that what I thought is basically there are a lot of values that we have in mind, that we perceive, that we think are very valuable, a lot of values that, you know, society in general values. All society find those values interesting and real values, solid values, things that we must reach, and so on. That means success. So when we try to reach any kind of success, all that is based on those values that are very bright. You know, that's the shiny part of life. It's I don't know, big money, big car, a lot of things that we all want. And in a way, that's not the problem of what they are. It's the value we put in all that. And basically, it's I think that, you know, most of the time when we reach a goal, okay, it's great for a little time, and then it's kind of empty. You know, there's not what we were expecting within those values, within this goal that we've reached, and so we think we need also something else, and it's never ending. So what I was thinking is all those kinds of values that are bright and very superficial, but also in the way that, first of all, in the way that they're the first part that we see in life, and they kind of feel empty. You know, like when we reach them, we realize that, well, there's nothing in it, and within us we really feel empty. It doesn't bring anything at all that we were looking for, that really resonates with our real value. And like now the second part I would say is, you know, something like if it's like a sphere and you go deeper inside, and deeper inside there are all other kinds of values that we cannot really think of or explain very well, maybe not at all, but we just experience other things in our life. And if we want to look at things clearly and be honest with ourselves at a certain time, it's like, okay, all those values are always empty basically, and there's nothing for me really inside. Okay, but there are things in life where I really live and experience great things, and I cannot really grasp them. I don't really know, you know, what are those values. And sometimes it seems like it's because of those values, but eventually I realize that's different, that's another thing. And all that is more, you know, in the core of life, of ourself, of our experience. You know, something that we don't see at first, but there are real values, because we can experience things that are really great in our life. So we know there are values. We just don't know where they are, and, you know, to what relate those values in our life. And I think that um, I don't have an answer to all that, but maybe just a part of an answer, which is, if all those big values we think or we pursue in our life are, you know, success, positive values in a way, all that is great, and we want that in society, at least it's what we think, you know. Then if that is positive, then the core values that really brings us, fills us with great feelings, great life, great experience, those values are perceived as negative. You know, the form that it takes is perceived as negative. If that is perceived as positive, then that is perceived as negative, because it's just, you know, not the same thing. So I think that in a way that explains that when we want um, to reach things that are really important to us, it makes us afraid. You know, we are afraid of doing certain things because, in a way, if that is very, very important for me, then I must let down that, because it's just, you have to choose. You go either there or there, and if you go there, you have to let down that. And that is the briny, the, you know, the shiny part that everyone uh, is looking at. And basically you kind of, if that is being successful, being strong, being getting success and so on, then you're getting the opposite of all that. That is failure, that is weakness, that is, I don't know, poor things, if you go there. So I think there is a problem between them, both of them. And the choice you have to make, I think, is the core problem. Although, if we are able to, yeah, let down a little bit the illusion of those false values that brings us nothing, we can really focus on what, you know, matters to us, even though it seems counterintuitive, um, because of, once again, the values we think are real in this world. And if we focus on that, really, I'm sure that actually there are really great things we can really, that's really the source of the success, actually. And from that, we'll have certainly big money, big car, what you want. But that's not at all the source. It's not by looking through that that we can find the value. It's by looking through that that we can get other kinds of values too. You know what I mean? So certainly something like that. And I think that's, I really think that's the beginning of an answer. And in a way that relates to things that I listened to about, how to say, appearing weak. The world is well, I forgot the word anyway. You know, that's more like, yes, appearing as weak, but being genuine, real, and that our real power is there, the real source is there. And I really think that's something important. That's a really piece of the answer, but in a way that's, yeah, that's opposed to what we are looking for most of the time, as being the brilliant shiny part that is real success and values. So we have to make a choice that is not necessarily easy, but I think that is true, and we can find the source and real success from there. And maybe just think of what is the value, the personal value that you can bring. It's the kind of question I ask myself, and I know that I can bring some real value, but it's really certainly not based on everything that I see. That's sort of something very personal that is just different. And if I want to do as everyone else, there's no value in it. It's just try to copy things that I see elsewhere. There's no value because it's not personal. It's not me, and you know, it's just like, I don't know, building something that someone else has already built. What's the value in it? It's already been built, you know. So what can you bring? What can you create in a way? And so that brings this kind of dilemma, yeah, you know, of both kinds of values that are opposed. So anyway, that was my thought. I don't know if you can relate to that. Don't hesitate to comment, to share your view on that. It's very important, and I think I'll come back to that pretty soon, certainly. Thanks. I talk to you soon. Bye.